Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Karp. Runners are always asking me how they should do workouts to see results. Most runners don't do workouts correctly because they don't really understand the purpose of the workout. So they go out their door and just run at any arbitrary pace, or they go to the track and they run at any arbitrary pace. And there's a better way to do workouts to see better results. For example, the biggest mistake that runners make is taking their easy runs too fast. By taking your easy runs too fast, number one, you increase the chance of injury. Number two, you can't increase the overall weekly volume of running that you do. And number three, you're too fatigued for the days that it is important to run faster on the track. And so if you slow down your easy days, you'll be able to run better because you'll get more out of the harder days, and you'll be able to increase your overall weekly and monthly volume of training. And because this is an endurance sport, it's the volume of training that what we're most sensitive to, the adaptations that we're trying to create, making more mitochondria so we have better ability for aerobic metabolism, making more capillaries that perfuse the muscle fibers so that we can get more oxygen into the muscles more quickly. Those adaptations are very sensitive to the volume of work done. So if you want to be able to increase the volume of work done, not only the volume of easy running, but the volume of more intense running, what I call the volume of intensity, in order to accomplish those things, you need to run easy when it's time to run easy, so that you then can run hard when it's time to run hard. So how easy is easy? For the easy runs, which comprise the bulk of your training, should be about 70 to 75% of your maximum heart rate, or about 1.5 to 2 minutes per mile slower than your current 5K race pace. It should feel very conversational. You should be able to talk in full sentences up to a paragraph with somebody without having to stop to take a breath. The second fastest speed that runners should run at is lactate threshold speed, or what I refer to as the acidosis threshold speed, because it's really the acidosis, not so much the lactate, what we're really interested in. Acidosis threshold speed for good runners is about 25 seconds per mile slower than your current 5K race pace, or about 85 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. It should feel comfortably hard. You should be able to talk in a few words up to a sentence without having to take a breath. And it should feel like you're at the upper end of being purely aerobic. And that's important, that lactate threshold, acidosis threshold workouts remain purely aerobic. You don't want to accumulate a lot of lactate. You don't want to develop a lot of acidosis. You want to be running right up at the brink of those things occurring, because that represents the stimulus to raise the ceiling, to raise the acidosis threshold speed to a faster speed. The third fastest speed that runners should train at is the speed at VO2 max. And so this is where the speed that you do your interval training at. The goal of doing VO2 max training, doing an interval workout where the intervals are 3 to 5 minutes long, the work periods are 3 to 5 minutes long, is that you want to reach VO2 max during the work period. Because just like with the acidosis threshold training, if you want to improve acidosis threshold, you want to run right at the acidosis threshold. It's the same thing with VO2 max. To stimulate VO2 max to increase, you want to run right up against VO2 max intensity so that we raise the ceiling. For good runners, VO2 max speed is approximately equal to a 2-mile or 3,000 meter race pace. For less performing runners, or lower performing runners, or more recreational runners, it's going to be closer to 1.5 mile race pace. It should feel difficult. Unlike the acidosis threshold training, the VO2 max training feels difficult. It's manageable, but it's difficult. You want to be knocking on the door of your maximum heart rate by the end of each work period. Mathematically, VO2 max equals your maximum heart rate times your maximum stroke volume times your maximum arterial venous oxygen content difference. The difference in oxygen content between the arterial blood, the blood going to the muscles, and the venous blood, the blood coming back up from the muscles to the heart. That difference represents how much oxygen the muscles have extracted from the blood. And so if you look at the heart rate part of that, to reach VO2 max, which is what you want to do during the work period, you need to be also reaching your maximum heart rate, because VO2 max occurs when you're at maximum heart rate. So if you do your interval training at the speed at VO2 max, you'll represent a stimulus to try to improve VO2 max. The fourth fastest speed that runners should train at is the speed at which develops a lot of acidosis or high lactate accumulation, so that we can buffer the acidosis and delay fatigue and improve our anaerobic capacity. For good runners, the speed to improve anaerobic capacity and to improve buffering capacity is approximately equal to mile race pace. For more recreational or lower performing runners, it'll be about half-mile race pace. So you want to do shorter intervals for this type of workout, 45 to 90 seconds. So the classic workout is 400-meter repeats at mile race pace. The purpose of doing that is to raise lactate levels very high, to accumulate a lot of acidosis, so that we create the adaptations to buffer that acidosis and clear lactate from the muscles. So those are the 4 speeds at which you need to train to become a better runner. For more information about training, check out my website at runcoachjason.com.